This lesson is over area of trapezoids. In 5th grade, you learned what a trapezoid is. So before we do that, let's look at our number routine, area of triangles. So as a reminder, the formula to find the area of a triangle is area equal half of the base times height. Why, you may say? You have a rectangle. You know the base, you know the height. But to find the area of a triangle, you have to cut the rectangle in half. So what is the base right here? Let me use my yellow highlight. The base is 12. Think of it as basement, the bottom part of it. The height I'm going to highlight in green. Think of the height as vertical, that goes straight up and down. When you measure your height, you stand straight up. Hence, these two numbers right here are not needed. They're like the slants. So half, the base is 12, the height is 4. So what is base times height? What's 12 times 4? 48. What is half of 48? When you say half of something, what operation are you doing? You're really dividing by 2. So it's 24. So 24 units square. Why square? Because it's a two-dimensional flat shape. That's one way you could have solved it. I have some student who use number sense to solve it. What do you mean by that? They do half of the base number. Half of 12 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24 units square. That's another way you could have solved it. So would you rather be fluent in all languages or a master of every musical instrument? I am a traveler, so I want to be fluent in all languages. So explain to your partner, how do you find the area of a parallelogram? The formula for area of parallelogram is base times height. So the base, let me highlight the base so we all see what the base is. The base is this. The height is a vertical. So that means, hence, the 6 is not needed. So I'm going to scratch out the 6 because it's not needed. But there's no number for the base. Is this length the same as this? I believe so. So, because if you flip it around and rotate it around, it is the base. So 10 times 5, why did I write it in parentheses? It's another version of multiplication, is 50 square units. Would you rather live in a 5-star prison or the poorest country in the world? Personally, I'd rather live in the poorest country in the world if I have the education and I'm making some money. So you can be like the leader, the ruler. Explain to your partner, how do you find the area of a triangle? So you just multiply the base times the height. And then half of the base times height. So 12 times 4, these are scratch numbers. We don't use those slanted. These will be vertical. 12 times 4 is 48. Divide by 2, 24 units square. All right, so today we're going to be learning trapezoid. We've already learned how to do area of rectangle parallelogram is base times height. We already learned how to do triangle is half of base times height. And we're going to learn what this trapezoid is. So each student will be getting this index card that is split up like this way. With your yellow highlighter, I want you to highlight base 1 and base 2. If you flip it around, you see that this could be the base, and you turn it, flip it around. Well, let me show you. If you don't trust me, flip it around, and you can see that's also to be the base. And then I want you to highlight the height. So what I want you to do is with a partner, you are going to combine the two trapezoids to form a parallelogram. So what shape do you see right here? It is a parallelogram. So can you make a parallelogram with the two provided trapezoids? Parallelogram. And how do you find the area of a parallelogram again? You multiply the base and the height. So how do you find the area of a parallelogram? You multiply the base and height. So how are you going to find the area of this parallelogram? Well, the base is B1 with this B2. So I think you have to add them up together. So you have to put together the bases together, B1 plus B2, and you're multiplying by the height. And then how do we find the area of a trapezoid? Well, we know that a trapezoid is half the size of a parallelogram. Hence, the formula for the area of a trapezoid is half of the b1 plus b2 times the height. Again, to find the base of this parallelogram, you have to add the two bases. And the height is right here. And that is why we use this as the formula. So what we did is we decompose a parallelogram into a trapezoid to give you the formula. So here is an example if you had been given a index cards. So we're going to be using this formula throughout today's lesson. So first of all, highlight the bases in yellow. Let me get my highlighter. Here's a base. Here's another base. Highlight the height in green, this one. Are we going to use, let me get my pen so you can see. Are we going to use this? Nope, I'm going to scratch it out so we don't use this. Again, if I had a ruler, I don't really have a ruler here. This one is 2 inches. I think this was 5 inches. Maybe it was 6 inches. I cannot remember the number, so I'm just going to say 6 inches. And I believe this was 3 inches. So again, if you had a ruler, you would actually be doing this right now on a worksheet. You would measure in inches, but I don't really have a ruler here. So I'm just estimating what it is. This might be, anyway, I don't know what it is. So what is the area formula? The area formula is half of B1 plus B2 times the height. Again, where do we get this? Right here. You are given a star reference chart. It's right there. So what is B1 and B2? You know what? I'm going to label this. This is B1. This is B2. And this is the height. So let's substitute the variables with the numbers. So 6 plus 2. And the height is 3. So let's solve it. What's 6 plus 2? 8. And what is 8 times 3? 24. And what is half of 24? It is 12 square inches. And that is how you find the area of trapezoid. The most common mistakes are these. Kids will use the slant, or they'll forget to divide by 2 and find half. Again, if you have to look right here, a trapezoid is half the size of a parallelogram. That's why we have half in it. Another way, here's another way you could have solved it, because I have some kids who solve it this way. They do half of the 8. What's half of the B1 plus B2? It is 4. 4 times 3 is 12 square inches. So next one. So in this example, so what some kids do is they have to rotate their paper like this way to find the, so I'm going to do it right now, to find B1 plus B2. So let's get my highlighter. This is B1 and B2, or this could be B1, this B2, as long as you can highlight the two bases. And let's highlight the height of it, which is right here. So one of the most common mistakes is using the slant. So let me scratch out this right here. So the formula right here is area equal 1/2 of B1 plus B2 times the height. So what are the two bases? This is 3 and this is 9. 3 plus 9. What's the height? 5. 3 plus 9 is, order operation, is 12. And 12 times 5 is 60. What is half or divide by 2 of 60? 60 divided by 2 is 30 square yards. Another way you could have done it is half of the B1 plus B2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. Last but not least, a tabletop is in the shape of a trapezoid. So let's draw a trapezoid right there. It has, with bases, 3 6/10 feet and 2 feet. The height is 2 5/10 feet. I'd be very careful. You have to draw in the height. In my 4th period class, there's a girl, who, what she does, she draws a dotted line like that way to represents the height. Again, these are not the height, they're slanted. Let me get out my highlighter so you can see what I'm doing. Here are the bases. Here is the height. So let's write down the formula now. It is area equals 1/2 B1 plus B2 times height. Let's substitute the B1, the two bases. The two bases are 3 6/10 and 2 feet. Could I write it 2 plus 3 6/10? Yes, of course you could write it that way, as it is commutative. And the height is 2 5/10. So what is 3 6/10 plus 2? That is 5 6/10. So let's multiply 5 6/10 times 2 5/10. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 3 is 28. Scratch, scratch. Some kids say lay an egg. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. If I add this up, it's 1,400. But do not forget the decimal point. Let's remind ourselves, how do you find a decimal? You had to jump a tenth, so you're jumping to the hundredths place, or two places, so it's 14. And what is half of 14? 7 square feet. Another way you could have done it is, some people do half of 5 6/10 is 2 8/10 times 2 5/10 and get 7 square feet. And so that is how do you find the area of a trapezoid. Here's one last practice if you would like to practice this. And here, so fix the error. Let me highlight this. I highlight the basis. I highlight the height. So let's see, what is wrong here? Oh, they use this number, the slant, as the height. That is the error. So hopefully you understand how to find the area of a trapezoid.